We got this other news update. I want to pull up this story. We got this tweet from Mike Benz. I hope y'all are ready for next year. He says this is how self-sabotaging Linda's new crop of censorship shills are of their own company. Let me slow down there a minute. This guy's pointing out that Twitter has begun the process, X has begun the process of hiring election integrity team members for 2024, which means censorship. They're hiring censors. He was going to mention several of these individuals have previously expressed interest for the Twitter killer, not wanting to work for here. He says, this guy who seems to dream of his own company being killed or reverted to Twitter 1.0 censorship even positively promotes that under Linda, they're getting the band back together. The band of policy team means misinfo policies. He's bragging the old censors are back. Okay. Do we trust this Linda, what is her name? Yacarino?
Yeah.
Is that? No. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's her name. Trust her, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
I mean, it should be assumed that just right off the bat, like you assume you don't trust her. Now, I'm not saying that it's not possible that she could earn trust, or that it's not possible that you know, this could be much ado about nothing, but you don't trust off the bat.
The truth is, you should never have to trust your social media. You should be able to verify the code and know exactly what the media is doing. Secondly, they can ban you at any time for any reason, everywhere you go. So there's no reason in wondering or be getting angry about it if and when it happens. Linda Yacarino and Elon Musk can ban you off X right now.
You bring up like verifying the code a lot. I wonder how many people actually could verify like, I wouldn't be able to verify any code. Like, even if they made the code open source, I can't. Like, I don't know.
Right. You might be able to run just ChatGPT, like an AI program to like translate the code for you and let you know what it's saying.
Well, okay,
But
maybe
that would
but
be
your average
complicated.
person isn't going to be able to verify the code.
How many lines of code do you think Twitter is?
I think 18,000 on just the algorithm alone.
And so
I'm
you're
not sure.
still back to trusting someone to tell you that, oh, this is safe.
Yeah.
So I mean, the reason I bring this up is because you say you mentioned verify the code and have open source code, and I still feel like your average person is still going to have to rely on someone else that they trust, because they're not. It's like that's like being like, oh, well, make sure that make it available so that way people can read it, but then like half the world's illiterate or whatever, or doesn't read that language. You
would get like 10,000 developers that all have agreed that the code says this, so it's kind of hard to have them all lie. That would be that kind of trust. So it's like trust in the fortification of the mass mentality or something.
I think what would end up happening is you'd get 80% of corporate coders who align with the Democrats, the establishment, the machine, would all come out and say, everything's fine, it looks good to me. Then you'd get a small faction of people being like, I don't know, this line of code looks like they're spying on you and stealing your info. Then the corporate press would say far-right neo-Nazis claim code is stealing your info in deranged conspiracy theory.
I'm not 100% sure that something, just because of the level of complexity, if the average person can't simply understand it, it might not actually make more clarity by making the information available. And not saying that it's a bad idea that it must be kept secret, but I'm saying that I don't see that as a solution, because I don't think that it would make more, add more clarity to the
average
situation.
person is just going to say, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And you're going to get people who will lie. They'll just take a snippet of code and say, this actually does this. And then they could be lying.
Yeah,
it may add more vectors to.
But when you find out someone was lying, then that destroys their credibility.
Now, look, Joe Biden stated on camera that if you don't fire the prosecutor, you're not getting the $1 billion. We know for a fact he did it, and they're still saying it's a conspiracy theory.
Well,
crazy.
You're right.
I mean, there was another story I saw earlier. Lab leak theory is still labeled as misinformation according to these universities.
I just hang with developers, and so they don't lie. Like, they read code, they know exactly what it's doing, and they'll be like, yo. And then they make noise about it. And like, mine's the whole essence of it is free software code, open source code. Like, those are like my bros. I would feel very, very good if the code was available to peruse.
Yes, I agree. It should be publicly available. More importantly, voting machine software should be publicly available information, and none of this would be an issue. Like, there would be no indictment. They'd be able to look at it and be like, okay, well, I don't know. But they keep it a secret. Massive private. First of all, Dominion is a multinational corporation. Is it not?
I assume so.
It is. Yeah, it's international.
It's an international company that handles our elections. I mean, that just seems like a really bad idea. And I'm not saying that Dominion did anything wrong. I'm just saying the United States should sever all ties with international organizations that handle our voting, and it should be law. Listen up, Republicans. Pass this bill. The software code for voting machines should be public available. Have a nice day. That's it. What's the argument against it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any
communism?
kind of issue with it being available.
That would be awesome.
There are people that I assume that there might be problems in the fact that it's proprietary, like if you have intellectual property issues with that, right?
Too bad. Go home. You should not be able to operate an election.
Oh, for election,
Unless
fair
you-
enough. Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you can make software code that people don't get access to, but the election machine, all software on it, the code must be
Fair enough,
publicly available for people to review and see.
Sure.
Yeah, if there's little lines in there that let people flip tallies and stuff, I'm gonna point you to what's that guy's name? That software developer that testified in Congress that he wrote a program to flip votes 51-49. This is like from the year 2000. I'll pull it up in a minute.
I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of issues in 24 just in terms of voter trust. Like there are so many members of the base out there, especially Trump's base, that just don't believe that their 2024 ballot is going to be counted correctly. And that is a massive problem. And Republicans, like you said, don't do anything. They don't seem to have any plan to address that. We haven't changed any of these voter laws that the Democrats switched in the dead of night in 2020.
Now,
They're still on the books.
Seriously, there's been I don't know who to
Pennsylvania is
blame
still the
or
same.
I don't know who to look to get this stuff done. I figure Ronna McDaniel, I guess.
Yeah.
If there has been no movement, no effort taken by the Republicans to make sure that they're in a different position strategically for this election, then all of the talking about Donald Trump or talking about DeSantis or Vivek or whoever, all that stuff is just horse crap. It doesn't matter if the Republicans have not taken measures to prevent the type of electioneering that happened last time.
Let's pass a bill. I think this is Thomas Massey's ball game, and I would love to get Kevin McCarthy involved. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. Matt Gaetz, I'm sure, would love to hear this.
Any bill that gets passed has to get through the Senate and through the president, and anything that might help the Republicans is not going to happen. So you have to think of things. If the Congress right now has power to do things like affect the purse strings, so like they cannot fund stuff. So if there's something that they want to affect, they can be like, well, we're not going to pass a bill that pays for it. But if Congress just passes a bill that is a bill that in the hopes of becoming a law, the Senate's not going to pass it, and Biden's not going to sign it. So passing a bill would be a way. Even talking about passing a
State
bill.
level.
Well, also, yeah, states
level
run
fair.
their own elections.
Yeah.
So the problem is our people in various, even red states, aren't mobilized. This has, I think, been a problem on our side for a long time. The left, being an activist, being political is almost their hobby. Our people, we do our 9 to 5, we kind of check out.
Right,
We're not
yeah.
involved in what's going on in our community at all. So I think that's a disadvantage. I think also we don't have enough lawyers on our side. It seems that they have just endless lawyers that are willing to litigate and fight this stuff. So I always tell people, get off the sidelines. You have to run for school board. You have to be an election poll watcher. Do whatever you can, because too many of us are just totally checked out and we're asleep at the wheel.
You think it's cool for people to run for school board if they don't have kids?
Yeah, why not? I mean, if you're involved in your community, absolutely.
So you think that
They're-
people would be less likely on the right to go and vote because they feel that their vote's not going to be counted? Is that what you're saying?
I've talked to a lot of people that feel that way.
Really? I've spoken to people that have said the opposite because they're like, I'm going to go out and go vote first thing, the first day on paper or whatever I possibly
I hope
can.
so,
I don't know. Just want to, yeah.
I
that meme-
hear kind of discouragement, I think, is the
Really?
overwhelming sense. I hope my vote counts this
Or-
time.
I hear the opposite. There's a meme where it's
do
from
I.
the wildfires in New York, and then the camera's panning past the Williamsburg Bridge, and everything's orange. Then it shows Trump dancing, and then it scrolls past him and says, "Don't care, still voting Trump."
Yeah.
What
I
I'm
love that
hearing,
meme.
all the memes are people just saying, whenever they're like, Trump did this, Trump did that, the election's rigged, whatever, people just say, "Don't care, still voting Trump."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's the meme. I mean, if that meme holds, Trump wins.
Yeah.
If people are just like, don't know, don't care, I'm going to vote for him anyway.
I think too they'll be pushed to act and to vote the more he becomes indicted or just has the DOJ totally weaponized against him. This is gearing people up for retribution. They're ready for it.
I just think it doesn't matter at all. We saw how bad it was in 2016. It's been ramping up. 2016, the Democrats screamed until blood sprayed from their eyes that Donald Trump was a Soviet spy who stole the election. All of the craziest conspiracy nonsense. 2020, Trump and his supporters believed and screamed to the high heavens. There was voter fraud to the point where you had many people saying Trump was secretly still the president. It's insane. 2024 is going to be no different. No different whatsoever.
I've got the name.
Worse. It'll be different in the sense that it will be escalating.
This developer's name's Clinton Eugene Curtis, and he testified that Congressman Tom Feeney asked him to build a prototype software package that would secretly rig an election to sway the result 51-49 to a specified side. He testified that in front of U.S. House Judiciary members in Ohio. And the YouTube video is called American Election Hacker Testifies. It's by an account called Hack247, if you want to watch the video. He is almost giddy letting people know.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.